is Tanya and welcome back to the channel. Today I am back with a little bit of a different type of build as we are building a junkyard today in the world of Oasis Springs. This is actually built on the Desert Bloom lot, which is a 50 by 50 lot where the park was located in Oasis Springs, and I thought it would be perfect for this junkyard because I knew I wanted it in a desert environment. But I didn't really want it in Strangerville. I had other things that I was thinking of putting there, and I thought the obvious choice there would have been like the crashed plane lot, but I thought here it would look really cool and be in a little bit of more of a structured environment right by the street, because I imagine this is a place you can go and visit, and there's a lot more to it than just being a junkyard. I will explain that as we get to it all, but I'm actually not too sure how much this place costs, because I do imagine it as a community lot. You could live here, I suppose, but there's nowhere really to sleep, so that's probably not a, well, actually there is some place to sleep. I'll get into that. But I do imagine this being a community lot, and it can be used for a bunch of different functions. But here I am placing down a bunch of debug items. We have the crashed plane, which is not debug, but then the trailers are. I'm not sure if that cargo ship is. I'm pretty sure it is. And that's actually one of the items that inspired me to build this lot, because I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I found it the other day when I was working on a different build, which hasn't come out yet. And I was like, oh my God, this would be so cool. I want all of these vehicles all over this yard. I think it would be a really fun idea. So that was definitely an item that inspired me. So there is a lot of rocks, there's a lot of overgrown grass and vehicles and pieces of things all over this lot, but there's also a little office which we're building over here, because I imagine that when you come to this junkyard, it's probably to purchase something. I know at least where I live, there's junkyards you can go and you can either drop stuff off. Sometimes you have to pay to drop stuff off, sometimes you don't. And then you can also buy things from the junkyard. So I know like my mechanic will buy car parts to fix cars at the junkyard. There is a lawnmower outside my window, so I apologize if you can hear that. But this is the main office where I would imagine you can go and purchase things that are on the lot. So I just wanted to make a little bit of an office space. There's going to be an old chunky computer in here. I didn't want it to look new and updated. I wanted it to look a little bit old school, outdated, and so that's kind of what we're working on here. It's pretty simple in here. I just wanted it to look like a little old office. I didn't want it to look really fun and exciting, because I imagine the person in here is just sitting here. Although one thing that would have been a cool thing to add, because I imagine it's not super busy and I didn't add this, would be like a television, so he could just like kick his feet, he or she could kick their feet up and watch TV while they're waiting for somebody else to come by. I think that would be a really cool idea. But that's basically what this building is. We're just going to finish painting it. I also added this like curtain on the inside. I imagine this was kind of like one of those metal things that you can pull down and to close the office. So that's kind of what that is serving as right now. And then we're just painting the inside, and then there's going to be bathrooms out back, so that there's a place for people to go to the bathroom while they're here. There are other places on the lot to go to the bathroom as well, but this is like the more official, like somebody's like, oh, do you have a restroom? This is where you were directed. So that's what this is. It's really simple. It's just 2 toilets and some toilet paper and a sink and mirror over here, and I think some paper towels. Yeah. So nothing too crazy in there. It's a really, really simple shaped, I almost said home, building that you can go and make your purchases at or go to the bathroom. So that's what's over there. And then we're going to be doing a lot of landscaping using most of the new plants that we got with the update for Strangerville last week, because they are so pretty, and I know they're made for Strangerville, but they fit really well in Oasis Springs as well, so we're going to use them here. So this is pretty similar to like where a lot of these items are going to be. We do build another structure and add a whole bunch more clutter and landscaping. This whole lot is super full, and I'm pretty happy with how it came out. Had to wait for that lawnmower to stop, but we're back now. We're just figuring out an area behind the plane. I actually decided to come back to this area a little bit later. You can see I placed down one of the decorative tents that we got with Get Famous. I also placed down a functional one from Outdoor Retreat. I thought it would be kind of cool to have like a hidden spot behind all of the junk in the junkyard, that if you were playing like a runaway teen challenge or anything like that, and you wanted to just kind of stay someplace, not like have a home. That'd be kind of a cool place to hide out, or like some teens hanging out back there, getting up to no good. There's a lot of bottles around, and it looks like just somebody's been kind of squatting there for a while, and I kind of like the idea of that. So I fully fleshed out that area, but right now we are building this building over here, which is kind of like a garage, sort of. I imagine this is where all of the extra items are, or the more expensive things, or things you don't want out in the yard that you might want to purchase from this junkyard. So in here, there ends up being a ton of random items. But at first, all I put in here is a truck, and then we just keep going. So here's the truck. And I think there's only windows on the upper level of this. I tried putting them downstairs, but I'm pretty sure I deleted those in the end. But I think it came out pretty nicely, and we're just going to be adding some more landscaping and stuff around before we go inside. And these garage doors that we got with City Living worked so well for this. It's exactly what I wanted. And also this shelf from Laundry Day I think worked well. But there's a ton of random items. It's just a mismatch of stuff that you might want to purchase, or maybe it's just stuff that they've had for a while. I imagine that couch nobody's going to buy, but maybe they keep it inside so it's a place to sit down when you're in here. And we're just adding a bunch of different clutter to these shelves. Maybe you want to buy an old TV, some computer parts, a pig statue. There's so many different items in here. And like this what is it? Typewriter. I have so many typewriters in my house. Totally unrelated. But anyway, we're just adding more items around, and I went and found that, what's it called? Air conditioning decoration, and I went and placed that on the main office. And using this leading artwork that we got with the latest update, I love that so much. I also used quite a few of these like more older rundown rugs in the home, not in the home, on this lot. This one's from Get Famous, and then I used a couple of the ones from Vampires as well, which we'll get to in a little while. But just placing some more items. We have the Don't Wake the Llama table, got some bookcases. We have I don't know if that's a washer or a dryer I placed down, but I thought that was kind of cool because I know a lot of junkyards will have like old appliances and stuff you could buy, so I wanted to put that down. And I also put this movie sign outside, which I thought was really cool. There's a bunch of signs around in general, and then I used this sign from Strangerville to kind of be the sign for the actual junkyard. I thought that was kind of cool. It kind of reminded me of those signs that you see somewhere like, we buy cars for what, like, no matter what like they look like. So that's kind of why I put that down. And I think it's kind of a cool selection of items in this room that you could buy, anything from, you know, an old washer or dryer to like Elvis's outfits, like just anything that's been junked essentially. And I really liked the idea of that, and I'm loving these metal floors as well. I then put down these cardboard boxes because I figured it would be nice to have those down as like a surface to put that really big display case on. I imagine the metal would probably mess with the feet of that, but that is actually just a dance floor from Get Together. I also put this crane in the back by the plane. I thought that was so cool. That was one of the items that I was like, this has to make its way into this build. I think this would be a great addition. And I'm just like messing around with different items from Get Famous, trying to figure out what might work, and moving things around like crazy, because every time I find just a random miscellaneous item, I'm like, this works. It's a junkyard. Anything could be here. I also thought it would be cool to have plants growing out of this broken down car. I really liked how that looked. And just doing some more terrain painting. I did cut some of the terrain painting out because it did take a long time. So most of the footage in this build is in. I cut out like 2 or 3 minutes of like searching through menus and stuff like that, because I didn't think it was necessary to go ahead and watch all of that. But here we are actually placing down a bunch of tires. I thought it would be really cool to just have stacked tires over by the garage area. And then I also moved a couple of these around the lot to use as planters, and we have some lavender growing in them, which I thought was a really cute idea. I forgot about the tires for the longest time, and I was like, oh my gosh, we have tires. I think they are such a cool item to be included. I love all the things we got with that update, and I feel like I'm going to use the tires often if I remember about them, because I think they just work really well as like planters for outside in more rustic builds and such. And here we are just placing down more landscaping. I feel like I'm just going to keep saying that phrase because I never stop. I'm like, oh, it's good. Oh, it's not enough. Oh, it's good. I like could not stop adding to this build. I actually started this yesterday before work, and all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, I need to leave. I got really carried away. And then when I got home last night, I spent like another like couple hours on it. I just kept adding landscaping and I was so addicted. I really love landscaping, and I think like stuff like this is my favorite type of thing to landscape and decorate, is like just lots of clutter. I think before this build, my favorite build I had ever done was a pawn shop I did a couple of years ago, and I've mentioned that before because it was so quirky and like just so much stuff everywhere, and it was just really fun going through all the items and finding ways to use them. But I think this build might take the cake because I got to use so many cool items in like a different context than I've ever used. And here we are placing down all those bottles and cans back here. We're going to be adding a barbecue and a tent back here, so you can actually sleep back here and drink and eat and all that kind of stuff. There's also the barbecue with the from Jungle Adventure, the like garbage can, or I'm not sure what it's called. Is that what it's made out of? Is it a garbage can? I think so. But basically like a tin bucket thing. I also added a woohoo bush back there and a cooler. So you have everything you need to survive back here. There's no way to shower, but I mean, you can live. So I think that's pretty cool. I wanted to include that. I just wanted this lot to be more than just a decorative lot. And so this is one of the things I added. And then the other thing I added, which we'll get to in a little while, is when I first placed down the lot, you saw that in the plane I placed like a room that goes downstairs, because that's kind of what the function of that plane object was that we got with Strangerville. It allows you to create underground bunkers, and I thought that was so cool, and it would be kind of fun. I have it like blocked off as like you're not supposed to go in there. Maybe it's dangerous. Or also it's probably kind of secret. I'm thinking that the person who owns this plot of land that works in the office also operates like a karaoke bar at night, but like he doesn't have the right permits for it. So it's like, caution, do not enter, and nobody's supposed to know about it. So that's kind of the thought process behind that. So we'll get to the karaoke bar in a little while, but I had a lot of fun with it. I think I like the outside of this better, like the upground, like not the underground karaoke bar, although it came out pretty cute, I think. But just decorating and landscaping this whole lot was probably the most fun I've had. And we're just adding some trash cans now because it is a junkyard. And of course, some more tires with plants and rocks and plants and plants and plants. Did I mention plants? Just so many things. I think we sized up like a train here. I just have so many vehicles all over this lot and junk, and this was way too much fun. Like, I don't know why I didn't do something like this before, and sorry for all the zooming of the camera. I'm just like inspecting every inch of the lot, seeing if there's anywhere that needs more landscaping, more terrain paint. Is something too empty? Did I forget something? And just trying to figure that out. So we're adding a bench and some broken pots under this tree, and some more pots over there, and a sundial, and a rooster, and because roosters are necessary in this lot, and of course some more plants. Just adding so many plants on this. I think the plants that we got with Strangerville are so beautiful. They are like some of the best plants I feel like we've gotten in game. And here we are just like doing some more landscaping, making this whole place look really run over and dirty, and not like upkept too well, because I mean they're always dragging new large items into this lot, so I imagine it's not pristine all the time anyway. And I also added a kitty litter box tucked behind that crate, and added a couple of food bowls as well. So if you have a cat or a dog on this lot, especially if you're doing like that whole kind of runaway teen challenge and you somehow have a cat or dog, I'm pretty sure the rules don't include that, but I mean, you can play however you want. If you want to play that storyline and you're kind of squatting here and you have your dog or your cat, I wanted there to be the necessities for those animals. But I think we're about to go and jump into the downstairs area and work on this karaoke bar, which is kind of exciting. So in here, I end up just, when you walk in, there's the staircase, and then there's a light, and then another one of these lights made out of that truck front that we got with Strangerville. I actually used a ton of Strangerville in this build. There are so many cool, fun, like junky items in that pack, and I think it worked really well for a junkyard. So down here we end up using an archway from Jungle Adventure, which I don't think works perfectly, but it was the right size, so I used it. Everything else down here is very metal. Everything's made out of metal, and I quite enjoyed that. So we just have the bar area over here, and then there ends up being a dance floor. I believe there's a bubble blowing machine down here. There's an arcade machine. There's the, what's that called? I'm looking at it. Where you select the music. It's like a jukebox. And then obviously the karaoke machine is in the other room with lots of seating. And I actually had to come back before I saved out this build because I was like, oh, this is a karaoke bar, yay. I couldn't save it as a karaoke bar because I didn't have at least 2 dining tables. So I had to change some stuff down here to include some dining tables. But I kept that footage in, so you'll get to see that little mistake. But here we are in the room trying to figure out the karaoke. And I at first put it on this wall, but then I decided an angle over here would work better. So I changed the shape of this room. And I think it just gives the downstairs area a little bit more personality, and I quite liked that. And then I add so many folding chairs. I imagine that they just have a ton of folding chairs and you can sit around and enjoy watching whoever sing karaoke. I imagine the Sims down here get really juiced and blow a lot of bubbles and then sing. So it sounds like a fun time, and like you're gonna hear a lot of really bad singing, and I just thought this was such a cool, different idea for a build, and I really enjoyed adding the karaoke bar. I don't think I've done something with a karaoke bar in a really long time. The last karaoke bar I remember, or karaoke machine I even remember placing down, was back when I was doing my City Living Let's Play and I built like a penthouse. Oh man, that was a long time ago. But we have like one comfy cushion over there. I imagine like when you're waiting your turn to sing karaoke, like maybe you get that seat if you're lucky. But here we are adding the arcade machine. I made sure to add one of the rundown ones down here, as well as this new, I just said it like boom, jukebox type thing from Strangerville, because I thought it really fit the vibe I was going for. So I was excited to add that, and just lots of random clutter everywhere. Got some pipes, got some random signs, some random pictures, and then I added a coat rack down here, and I combined 2 of them to make it look like there was more coats hanging up. And I used a lot of the decals from from Vampires in Jungle Adventure to kind of make the walls look like damaged. And I think that worked out really well as well. Lots of stains and rips and tears. And I just think it looks really cool and run down and pretty much exactly what I was going for. So I was happy with that. But I think we're getting these, yes, the Toddler Lights. I love these lights. I feel like they work so well in every build. And so I had put some of these throughout this karaoke room just to add a little bit of extra light. I thought that they could have at some point just been hung up there like very not great, like they're stapled to the walls or something through metal. That's a horrible idea. Maybe they're taped. Duct taped up. Yeah, I like that idea. But these are the bathrooms. They're really simple. There's nothing exciting about them. They're all metal. I didn't want them to look super personalized because they are just very simple bathrooms down here. This whole place is just kind of thrown together. I do put some graffiti on the walls in each of these bathrooms though, which I thought was kind of cool. And I do go upstairs and add lots of graffiti outside as well, because I had forgotten to add it. But here we are adding those dining tables because I forgot to add them down here and they were required for this to be a karaoke bar, but we added them, so yay. And here we are just adding some graffiti around the lot to finish it up. I think it just makes it look a little bit more realistic and run down the way I wanted it to. Also that there's like some other stuff going on here. There's people squatting here. There's a karaoke bar under the plane. Like it makes sense to me that there would be graffiti around, and I just also think graffiti is really cool sometimes. So it was nice to go ahead and add that, and we're just gonna be finishing up with some landscaping, probably more graffiti, and just making sure everything is exactly how I wanted it. But thank you guys so much for watching. We're coming to the end of the video now. If you like this, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. You can also subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and if you click that little bell, it'll turn on notifications so you'll be notified of every single time I upload a new video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Download info down below, and I will see you all next time. Bye everybody!